Julia, great to talk. What's changed to make this investigation criminal?
Well, we know that right now the Attorney General is shifting this, obviously, from a civil case to a criminal case, and that apparently means that they have some means to believe that it has been some sort of wrongdoing, or they have some sort of suspicion. We don't really know a lot yet about the mechanics that's going into this decision, but we know that before attorneys were looking into President Trump's, or prosecutors were looking into President Trump's personal tax returns, something that he hasn't released. And we know that it was civil in that he would have to potentially face financial penalties. Now he is going to potentially face criminal penalties if there's any wrongdoing that's found, or not only him, but the Trump organization as a whole. So we don't know too much yet, but we do know now that this is being shifted from a civil to a criminal.
And how usual is it, Julia, to make an announcement like this to inform them about this publicly?
Well, we do know that in past cases regarding other major public figures, this has happened before. However, I think this is unusual in that this is a former president of the United States, someone who was president less than a year ago. And we know that New York State, as well as the Southern District of New York, have been very, very public with how they've informed the public about what direction they're going in.
Now, what is also moving forward is the commission-style hearing into the Capitol riot. Now, a vote is expected later today. Do you think this is going to get the go-ahead?
It's very likely to get the go-ahead. We do know that Democrats control the House. They have the majority. However, we've seen that a number of Republicans, including House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, have pushed back against this commission, saying it's too narrow in scope, essentially saying that it doesn't examine all acts of political violence, just the January 6th insurrection on the U.S. Capitol. Now, that's the public reasoning that Republicans are giving, but it's likely that they are facing quite a bit of pressure from former President Trump as to how to move forward with this. So it's interesting because this deal for the commission was brokered by a Republican and a Democrat. Now, that Republican, John Katko of New York, did vote to impeach President Trump. So that's something that obviously played into this decision, but getting a lot of pushback from other Republicans this morning.
Julia, the House has taken steps to address a surge in hate crimes against Asian Americans. What are they hoping for with this new legislation?
Well, they're hoping with this new legislation for the federal government really to get more involved in preventing these hate crimes and to have more of a communication between federal law enforcement and victims of hate crimes. We do know that a hotline would be established as a part of this legislation, and that there would be more of a transparent communication between the federal government, local authorities, state authorities, as well as these victims of hate crimes. We've seen during the coronavirus pandemic, hate crimes against Asian Americans have simply skyrocketed. So this is something that Democrats in particular have been pushing on the Hill, but we do know that this did have some Republican support.
Yeah. There is a lot of pressure at the moment on President Biden to potentially get more involved in the flaring conflict in the Middle East. Is there domestic pressure for him to do so, or is he hedging his bets in a way to try and placate both sides?
There is absolutely domestic pressure. In fact, there are members of Congress, members of his own party, who are calling for a ceasefire and calling for President Biden to call for a ceasefire, something that he's only said he would potentially support. Yesterday, when he was in Michigan selling his American Rescue Plan, Michigan has a large Arab American and Palestinian population. He was asked about this, and he simply dodged questions. So the White House says he's practicing quiet diplomacy, but right now he's very much trying to weather a storm within his own party, which remains very divided on the Israeli-Palestinian issue.
Yeah, interesting one. And before you go, Julia, it is interesting to see, you know, we know that Donald Trump got a number of Supreme Court justices elected during his time in office, and we might see a test of whether that is going to have an impact with a challenge, in a sense, to the long-standing Roe versus Wade abortion decision.
Absolutely. We've seen that in Mississippi. There is a law that the Supreme Court, or a ruling that the Supreme Court will take a look at, that essentially bans abortions in that state after 15 weeks. So this is a major test for President Trump and the judges he's appointed at the Supreme Court level. And we've seen, this case is very important in particular because we've seen a number of these state laws passed about banning abortions at a particular time, and Democrats and liberals have been warning that these laws could chip away at Roe v. Wade. So this will be a major test for the conservative majority on the court.
Julia, as always, thanks so much.
Thank you.